This is going to be a very ambitious vlog. I am hoping to finish draft 5 of my bodyguard romance, which I have lovingly called Project Beefy. So that's what I'm going to try and finish in this vlog. I'm going to be accountable for myself to get it done. There's 31 chapters overall in this book, and it is going to be around maybe close to 100,000 words. I don't know by the time I finish, but I have about 4 chapters left to edit, and these are the ending chapters of the story. So I really have to make sure that they hit emotionally. Again, I'm all about the emotion in the writing to really feel like the ending was deserved for all the characters, and that even though this is a standalone novel with series potential, I do have to wrap it up quite nicely to the point where, yes, it can stand alone if needs be, but also I need to open up the story as much as I can to allow for future books. So we'll see. That is what I'm trying to do today, and I'm excited. It's going to be very bittersweet, but at the same time it has been a real experience to get one of my best friends, Jade, has very kindly looked over it for me for the past couple of months, and she has been very thorough in her edits, and she's been really pointing out my blind spots, which I really appreciate, because obviously as a writer, because you're so close to your work, you don't get to see your mistakes, and now I can clearly see what needs to be done, what needs to be improved. So it's all really good, but it is bittersweet because, you know, it's going to be ending soon with her looking over my draft, and it's very special for me to share this with somebody else, and especially one of my best friends ever. So I'm very excited. And also too, in terms of a life update, as of right now, I have actually handed my notice in to my current day job, and I'm starting a new day job very soon. And I won't get into the details just to keep those private for everybody else, but it is a very good move, and I'm very excited to move on and to grow and to get into something different. It is in the realm of finance, which is very ironic for me because I failed maths 3 times in school. I have a fashion degree. How did I end up in finance, do you ask? It's lost on me, I don't know. But anyway, it is all good, and it is a new start, and I was very happy. I definitely had a wee cry, a good cry this time, no sad tears, just happy tears, which is what I desperately needed for so long. I'm very excited, because then that means too, I will have a bit of time off. Like, I will actually have a real holiday for me to take before this new job, and I can rest and I can get back on my feet, literally, because I am still wearing my boot. Let me tell you, let me tell you everybody, I will be so glad to throw this boot in the bin. I am so excited to have an exile ceremony where I put it in the garage for a family of spiders to live in it. I am so excited because it has just been a real hindrance so far. I just want to get back on my feet, and I think that prophetically, I guess, it's a real fresh start for me. I can physically get back on my feet, I can go outside, I can go to coffee shops, I can write, and I can have a bit of time to myself to recharge. Like, I'm very excited. I'm very excited to start this new job, to meet new people, and obviously to support my writing endeavours. So it's all good, thank God for it. Hopefully in this vlog I'm going to start a little bit of editing tonight. Very important that I'm in a nice clean headspace to do it, to sit down and to edit, and to make sure that this book is as good as possible. And also too, as an update, I have written a draft of my query letter, and it was very jarring for me, let me tell you. It just made the whole thing real. Like, it's like I'm actually doing it this time, like I'm actually going to query this thing, and it's a very risky move, and I'm very excited to do so. Hopefully I will keep you guys updated on where I get to with my edits tonight, and then I will probably let you know tomorrow, and then we will take it from there. So hopefully I will get this draft finished sooner rather than later, and then I will hopefully start a new draft. I don't think it'll be a draft 6, I think it'll be like a draft 5.2 I'm thinking of, because it's not like a full structure edit this time. It's just like little details that I want to include, a little bit of word building details where things aren't as clear, and I just want to make them a bit clearer, and just a few more like bits on like the romance side of things and everything else, just details that I have in my head for the cinematic universe that is in my head. I won't get into too much detail, but people who write fantasy novels normally see their books in a map. I do too, but I see it more so in a timeline. So that's where I'm at this minute in time. So hopefully we will get there. So I will let you know. Okay, so it's the next day. I spent a good lot of last night trying to edit. I was trying to edit a lot of the Act 3 chapters of my draft. It was rough again. I must say I'm finding all of the mistakes in the latter chapters of the books where my sentence structure and my grammar is abysmal. Oh god, it was really bad. But however, we will push on and keep pushing because I know it'll be a better book at the end of it all. But I really had a bad bout of imposter syndrome last night. I think I said to you in the last couple of videos that, you know, we in Ireland have this kind of culture where if someone does something creative, you would say to them, oh, who do you think you are? And it's sort of like a bit of a condescending type of tone. And I kind of had that with myself. It was like, who do I think I am trying to do a book? Like, what on earth am I trying to do here? You know, you have those negative thoughts where it's like, this is never going to work, like it's terrible, it's crap. And I'm like, okay, I'm really trying. Thank God the actual edits themselves weren't necessarily about the structure of the book. That has been rectified in this draft, but the main thing, as I say, it is really the grammar and the sentence structure of my point of view and the perspective of the female main character and the male main characters. The descriptions of the battles and the monsters I really need to nail down and to really get in that sort of fantasy headspace where it's descriptive, it's immersive, and it just makes the reader feel like they're there. And also too, I was really trying to hit on the themes of redemption and repentance with the villain of the book. I don't want to spoil the story itself. I need to cough, I'm so sorry. I really wanted to touch on the themes of repentance and redemption and explore actually what happens when someone doesn't repent and doesn't want to get better and just stays in that darkness. And obviously in fantasy you can take it to like a real extreme where they're just completely gone as a person, and that is very terrifying to explore, but it's been really, really interesting. And it was also too to think about this week as I was reading my Bible in a Year devotional on the YouVersion app. A lot of the readings over the past few weeks have been in the Old Testament, and not that the Old Testament is boring, the Old Testament is absolutely amazing, but I've really like honed in on the books like 1st Kings and 2nd Kings and 2nd Samuel, etc., where it talks about the likes of the kings rising up to rule the land, and throughout the whole text it's like, and they did evil in the sight of the Lord and they did good in the sight of the Lord, and then that turned the tide for good for the generations to come after that. And that was something I was really thinking about as I was writing this villain arc, where what would happen if they gave in to the darkness and gave in to that power that isn't from God, and what does that actually look like? What is the consequence of that? And do they become a shell of a person, or do they become who God has created them to be? It's very interesting. That was something I was thinking about and journaling about as I was going through that villain arc. That is something too that I think I will explore in future books, and it is a personal one for me where, you know, like us all, we all fall short and everything, so it's interesting to explore those feelings and to obviously take that a bit further into the villain arc, where it gives the villain, I think, a bit of humanity as well, where they've made the wrong choices and now they're reaping the consequences of it. And also I think with future books I really want to explore how the consequences play out of going into the darkness, and what does it mean to actually get out of it, and how does one get out of it, and what does one feel about it. It was good to edit last night, and I've got a lot more to go. A little update from today. My friend Jade, who has been very kindly editing this book for me, she has come back finished with the draft today, so she has been doing it like chapter by chapter, which has been very, very good because I've been able to get it together as she has edited, I have edited, so it's been like a bit of a tandem type thing. I finish one chapter, she gives me the other chapter, and so on and so forth. That is finished. She has given me the feedback and I've given her some questions to answer. If the characters were compelling, if the dialogue was believable, what could be changed, what can be improved upon, what else could be explored. So I've got a lot to think about, which is really, really good, and a lot to explore, and a few bits that I've actually glossed over myself in terms of the relationships between the characters and how this is going to impact the story and everything else. So it is good. Get that finished and get the draft finished, and then hopefully I could take a short break to let the draft sit for a wee while, and then there's a couple of edits that I want to make myself in terms of details and word building. And there was one chapter in particular that I was editing last night where I wanted a major event to happen. That is like the main crux of the book and the magic system of that word, where if one has powers, they are very, very volatile, they're very deadly, and if the wielder themselves don't get the powers under control, it can kill them. And that's what I'm trying to explore and make clear in the last couple of chapters that this event is occurring. So it's come together, and it's looking really good. And yeah, I'm pleased. I'm tired, but I'm pleased. I'm really, really pleased about it, so I am. And also too, the word count of the book has significantly gone up, and I'm quite nervous because I know with the likes of the fantasy genre, when you are querying a debut novel, I wanted the book to be around 95,000 words. So it's like a nice, it's hefty enough, but it's not too over the top in terms of word count. But now I'm kind of nearing about, I'm probably going to have this book finished at about 120,000 words, and I need to get it cut down. Like, I want at least it to be 100,000 words, where okay, it's a lot, it's a big book, but I don't want it to be too big where it's hard to sell. So for a debut novel, like, I just need to be very, very careful. I'm trying to keep that in my head as I go. And also too, for the likes of future books after this, like, I really want to explore that in a bit more detail. The way I think I told you in one of my other videos that I don't see my books as like maps, I see them as like a timeline of like different words coming together in a way, like they're loosely kind of tied, but they'll kind of relate to each other in one form or another. And that's what I really want to explore, like the whole idea of the generations after this particular book, where in my head is the start and the catalyst for everything that is to come. But obviously I do understand, like, that book may not get picked up by a publisher. I'm totally okay with that. It is something that I do want to explore in future books. Just how much of like rulers and politics play into our society, and how that influences people, and how they have risen to power, and if they're like a good guy or a bad guy, or they're morally grey, if they're in between. So it's a lot to think about, and it has been good. Also too, I was listening to the Man of Steel soundtrack. It was the Hans Zimmer score, and there was one particular track that just spoke to me during when I was doing the rest of those edits last night. It was the sketchbook track that he did, but it's like 20 minutes long of like this whole entire score. It was so awesome. I loved it so much. Like, I love Man of Steel as a movie. That's definitely one of my comfort movies, and it really helped me to get into that frame of mind, because I do listen to like I listen to more of like a pop playlist when I'm doing my edits, just to like keep me hyped up and to keep me going. But to get into like the more classical score where it's epic and it's amazing, it does help too. So yes, it's been a long, I don't want to keep saying it's been a long night. I don't want to keep regurgitating how tired I am, but it is part and parcel of this. I do feel good that it's almost there, but I do know there's still a little bit of work to be done. And I also don't want to be editing for the sake of it. I know that there needs to be a stopping point, because I know myself that I can procrastinate so badly to the point where I just don't take any action, and then I'm just in this loop of just editing where I have to make it perfect. But you know, the agent isn't going to look for something perfect. They're going to look for something that they're passionate about, and that can get to a stage where it can be a really good book. So that's my thoughts for today. So hopefully tonight I will be looking at the rest of the chapters. I don't know if this week will be the week that I will finish the draft, because I do want to keep going over the chapters in a couple of passes, just to make sure that it's what I want, and what vision I had in my head, that it translates onto the page. Like, I just want to make sure I get it right. And also with the pacing I need to get right as well, and just to really, not to make the language super pretty and poetic, but I just need to like be very, very clear in what is happening. The reader isn't inside my head. It's this whole thing, the whole thing with all my books, it is like a movie inside my head that I just cannot shake. Even with the Project Lukewarm, there was a couple of nights where I just couldn't sleep, because it was just playing in my head like a full-on movie with with characters and a word, and it was like, oh my god, this is amazing. But you know, I need my sleep, so I do. But you know, that's kind of how I see it, where I'm a very visual person, but I need to like really learn how to get it accurate and descriptive and immersive onto a page. That is what we are doing. I will be ending tonight, and I will take you along with me. Oh, thank God we made it to Friday, everyone. Friday. You do be tired when it gets to the weekend. With my editing this week, I managed on Wednesday night to do a lot of rewrites for a major chapter. This was the chapter when the female main character of the story, her powers, where everything goes completely haywire. And honestly, in the actual draft that I had, in my brain, I was like, okay, this plot point has happened and this will lead to this. But on the actual page, it wasn't there. And I was like, okay. Like in my head, I think maybe it's like a sort of like, was it the Mandela effect where like you think something is there but it isn't, even though it looks like it is? That's the kind of the way it was for me. Trying to fix that chapter. Yeah, it was good. It was really good too. I rewrote about 2/3 of the chapters. It was good. It was good to get back into that voice again and to really come back in with improved skill set of writing and just to make sure I got the emotion again. And the sentence structure is my biggest bugbear of them all. I don't know what the actual frick is wrong with me. But anyway, it is improved upon and is a lot better than what it was, so thank God for that. And then last night, again, I was finishing off that same chapter because it was a very long one. It was about 12 pages long, and yeah, again, a lot of rewrites and a lot of restructuring to get the ending right and to make it feel deserved. And also, I had a few questions on my beta reader, Jade. She gave me her completed questionnaire back, and I asked her a bunch of questions like about the plot and what you think can be improved upon and what you think about the villain, is it believable, that type of thing. So I was going through that and then implementing a few little changes to really pack in that punch of how that story ends. So far I think it's about 29 chapters so far. There's 31 chapters in the manuscript in total, so I will be editing the last 3 chapters hopefully this weekend and into next week as well. I mean, we're getting there, like it's really getting there. I will definitely have to do another reread after to again address my mistakes with sentence structure and just to make sure that it flows well, that the word building is good, and that the relationships between the characters are believable as well, because I did receive a bit of feedback as well from Jade that a certain relationship wasn't, certain things were sort of glossed over, and I kind of want to address that hopefully in the next rewrites and stuff like that there. We're getting there and I'm really glad. I look like absolute garbage today. Like literally hair needs scrubbed. I done my face mask this morning. I have no makeup on. I'm wearing my Taylor Swift t-shirt and my cardigan. I look like absolute crap, but anyway, I don't really care. It's okay. What you see is what you get on this channel. Tonight is Friday night and I'll be doing my edits hopefully at about 9 p.m. and it's good to edit on the weekends because I can stay up a bit later and work on it and take my time, whereas I find during the week it is a bit more rushed and I have to really be intentional with my times. There's pros and cons to having a day job outside of writing, and as much as I would love to be able to do this type of thing during the day, obviously yeah, the creator's gotta make some money somehow. Yeah, it's just one of those things, but it is going a lot better than what I thought for the ending, and this was definitely a real push for me to address all of my mistakes and the mistakes I make as a writer, and it'll definitely make me a lot more conscious going forward where, okay, don't do a sentence that way, finish it, add your commas, make sure it's worded properly and get across what you want to get across without it being so complicated. Because I was watching a video too, I'll link it up here for you as well, where it was about how Sarah J Maas does her writing and how her writing style works so well, and she uses a lot of like really simple sentences but paced in such a way where it's impactful. So that's what I'm trying to do now, where I don't want to make the thing too complicated. Like I don't want someone to go into my book one day, God willing, I don't know where I am, I don't understand this, so I'm like, no, let's just make it very simplistic and easy to follow. That's what I want to be doing hopefully in my next round of edits. And then I will also need to get 2 beta readers, so I don't know where I'm going to find beta readers. This is how my brain works. I literally think about 10 years ahead of myself. Get back to reality. I need to wrap up the edits for the last 3 chapters of my manuscript and then I will see where I'm at. It's good. It is going really good, so I will show you how far I get tonight and hopefully over the weekend. you.